Hello students, good morning to all of you. In previous video, we studied Fisher projection formula, then DL configuration system, ring structure of glucose, then Haber projection formula and representation of fructose structure in detail. So, in today's video, we are going to study disaccharides. So we know that carbohydrates are classified into three classes. First one was monosaccharides, second one was oligosaccharides, and third one was polysaccharides. So disaccharides are nothing but these are the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis by acid or enzyme gives two molecules of same or different monosaccharides. Disaccharides are nothing but these are the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis by using acid or enzyme they gives two molecules of same or different monosaccharides. So two same or different monosaccharide units, they are joined by linkage, and that linkage is ether oxide linkage. That is this linkage, ether oxide linkage, and such linkage is called as glycosidic linkage. So remember that two monosaccharide units, they are joined to each other by ether oxide linkage, and such linkage is called as glycosidic linkage. So glycosidic linkage is formed by loss of water molecule by reaction of two hydroxyl groups from two monosaccharide units. So glycosidic linkage, it is formed by loss of water molecule, and such linkage it is formed when two hydroxyl groups from two monosaccharide units they loses water molecule. So among these monosaccharide units or these two monosaccharide units, at least one of the two monosaccharide must be having anomeric hydroxyl group. Then and then glycosidic linkage is formed. So at least one of the two monosaccharides must use its anomeric hydroxyl group, that is OH group, in the formation of glycosidic linkage. So examples of disaccharides are sucrose, then maltose, then lactose, etc. These are the various examples of disaccharides: sucrose, maltose and lactose. So let's study in detail about one by one. Let's study first of all about sucrose. So sucrose, it is one of the most common disaccharide. We know that sucrose is also called as cane sugar, or it is also called as common table sugar. So it is a most common disaccharide. So sucrose having the molecular formula C12H22O11. So sucrose on hydrolysis by acid or enzyme, that is invertase, It gives equimolar mixture of D plus glucose and D minus fructose. Thus, equimolar mixture of glucose and fructose are formed after carrying out hydrolysis of sucrose by acid or enzyme invertase. So, sucrose is a dextrorotatory compound. Sucrose is a dextrorotatory compound because it rotates the plane of plane polarized light towards right side. That's why sucrose, it is the dextrorotatory compound, and rotation, it is about plus 66.5 degree. So sucrose on hydrolysis, it produces dextrorotatory glucose and levorotatory fructose. So rotation due to this dextrorotatory glucose, it is about 52.5 degree, while rotation, it is due to this fructose, levorotatory fructose, it is about minus 92.4 degree. So here rotation due to fructose, it is more, it is 92.4, and here rotation about due to glucose, it is 52.5. So don't consider here this positive and negative sign, only consider the magnitude. So here rotation due to fructose is greater than glucose. Therefore, the resulting solution after hydrolysis of sucrose, it is the levorotatory. Once again, see here, as the rotation due to fructose is more or greater than glucose, the resulting solution after hydrolysis of sucrose, it is levorotatory. So this change of sign of rotation in hydrolysis is called as inversion of sucrose. So sucrose, it is the dextrorotatory. That means it rotates the plane of plane polarized light towards right side. After carrying out hydrolysis of sucrose, it produces dextrorotatory glucose and levorotatory fructose, and rotation, it is more due to the fructose. That's why here the resulting mixture, it is the levorotatory. Thus, this change of sign of rotation in the hydrolysis is called as inversion of sucrose. Original substance is sucrose. Sucrose, it is a dextrorotatory compound. It rotates the plane polarized light towards right side. That is plus. And finally, the solution obtained, it is levorotatory. It rotates the plane polarized light towards left side. That means sign of notation is minus. So sign of rotation changes, and it is called as inversion of sucrose. So mixture obtained after hydrolysis, therefore it is called as invert sugar, because inversion of sucrose takes place. That's why the mixture obtained after the hydrolysis is called as invert sugar. Then let's study the exact structural formula of sucrose. So sucrose, this is the structural formula of sucrose, or this is the structural formula of sucrose. So sucrose, it contains two monosaccharide units. First one, it is the glucose, and second one, it is the fructose. Glucose and fructose. So let's study the structure of sucrose. So in sucrose, C1 of alpha D glucopyranose. This is the alpha D glucose unit, or its name is alpha D glucopyranose. So C1 of alpha D glucopyranose is linked to C2 of beta D fructose unit, or C2 of beta D fructofuranose, and this linkage, it takes place through the glycosidic linkage. Here there is OH group, here on this side there is also OH group. So loss of water molecule takes place, and thus these two units, they are joined through this glycosidic linkage. So as resulting or reducing group of both monosaccharides are involved in the formation of glycosidic linkage, therefore sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Why sucrose is called as non-reducing sugar? Because reducing groups, so in glucose unit, reducing group, it is the aldehyde group. Then in fructose reducing group, it is the ketonic group. And aldehyde group and ketonic group are both reducing groups. They are involved in the formation of glycosidic linkage. Therefore sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Remember that sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. In examination, question may be asked to explain sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. So these two, this one and this one, are the Hayward projection formulae of sucrose. So you have to remember that sucrose molecule is formed when C1 of alpha D glucopyranose is linked to C2 of beta D fructofuranose. 1 2, here 1 2. So here we finished the first disaccharide, that is the sucrose. Then let's study the next disaccharide, that is maltose. So again, maltose, it is an example of disaccharide. It having a molecular formula C12H22OL. So this maltose, it is made up of 2 alpha D glucose units. It is made up of 2 alpha D glucose units. So in maltose, C1 of 1 alpha D glucopyranose is linked to C4 of another alpha D glucopyranose molecule. That means here linkage takes place in between C1 of one unit and C4 of other unit. So let's study structure of maltose in detail. So glucose unit, which uses its OH group at C1 and C4, is a alpha glucopyranose. So glucose unit, they are alpha glucopyranose structure. This is one alpha glucopyranose structure, and this one it is the another alpha glucopyranose structure. So here C1 and C4, they are involved in the formation of linkage, and linkage is therefore called as alpha, because this is the alpha D glucose, or its correct name is alpha glucopyranose. That's why its name is alpha. Then linkage it is in between 1 and 4. Therefore 1 4 alpha 1 4, and this linkage it is the glycosidic linkage. So maltose is a reducing sugar. Previously we studied that sucrose is a non-reducing sugar, but this maltose is a reducing sugar. Why this is reducing sugar? Because the hemiacetal group at C1 of secondary, this one. So hemiacetal group of C1, this is the secondary. Same hemiacetal group at C1 of secondary, it is not involved in the glycosidic linkage. That's why maltose is a reducing sugar. So remember that maltose on hydrolysis by dilute acid or enzyme maltase, it produces glucose. So here we finished the structure of maltose. Then the next disaccharide which we are going to study, it is the lactose. So again, lactose having the molecular formula C12H22OL. So lactose, it is present in milk. Lactose is present in milk. Therefore, commonly it is known as milk sugar. Lactose having the molecular formula C12H22O11. It is present in milk. Hence, it is commonly known as milk sugar. So, it is composed of two monosaccharides. Lactose, it is composed of two monosaccharides. First one, it is beta-D-galactose, and second is beta-D-glucose. So it is composed of two monosaccharides. First one it is the beta-D-galactose and second one is beta-D-glucose. So glycosidic linkage is formed between. So this lactose, it can form when glycosidic linkage is formed between C1 of beta-D-galactose and C4 of beta-D-glucose. See here the structural formula. This is beta-D-galactose. This is the structure of beta-D-galactose, and this is the structure of beta-D-glucose. So here glycosidic linkage is formed between C1. This carbon number is C1 of carbon, C1 of beta-D-galactose and C4. Here this is second carbon atom, this is third carbon atom, and this is the fourth carbon atom. So this glycosidic linkage, it is formed between C1 and C4 of both monosaccharide units. Therefore linkage is called beta. These two are the beta anomers. That's why linkage is called beta. Linking is between 1 number carbon atom and 4 numbered carbon atom. That's why beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Again, lactose is a reducing sugar because again homoacetal group at C1 of beta-D-glucopyranose unit is not involved in the glycosidic linkage, but it is free. See here. lactose is a reducing sugar. Why it is the reducing sugar? Because hemiacetyl group at C1 of beta D glucopyranose. So hemiacetyl group at C1 of beta D glucopyranose. This is beta D glucopyranose, and this hemiacetyl group, it is not involved in the glycosidic linkage. So here these two are involved in the glycosidic linkage, but here hemiacetyl group, it is not involved in the glycosidic linkage, but it is free. That's why lactose is a reducing sugar. So here we completed the study of next disaccharide, and that disaccharide was lactose. So after finishing study of sucrose, then maltose and lactose, now we are going to study the second biomolecule in this topic, and that biomolecule, it is the proteins. So we completed here the study of first biomolecule, that is the carbohydrates. So let's study proteins, that is second biomolecule in this topic. So it is most abundant biomolecule of the living system. It is the most abundant biomolecule of the living system, because in our body various organs are there, and this organ, it is made up of protein material. That's why we can say that most abundant biomolecule of the living system. So proteins are essential. Proteins are essential for all the processes which are taking place in our body. So in our body various processes are taking place. So for that purpose, proteins are very essential. So these proteins are essential or necessary for growth and maintenance of body. Proteins are essential for growth and maintenance of body. So the word protein is derived from Greek word proteos. Greek word proteos, P-R-O-T-E-I-O-S. So protein word is derived from Greek word proteos, which means primary or prime importance. Prime importance. Because protein is very important in our body. So proteins are derived from Greek word proteos, which means prime important. So proteins are present in skin, it is also present in muscles, it is present in nerves, it is present in enzymes, hormones, etc. So proteins are present in various organs. It is present in skin, muscles, nerves, enzymes, hormones, etc. So chemically, proteins are polyamides. Chemically, proteins are polyamides, which are high molecular weight polymers of monomer unit called as alpha amino acids. Proteins are chemically polyamides. They are having the high molecular weight, and the monomer unit of protein is alpha amino acid. In another word, we can say that chemically proteins are polymers of alpha amino acids. Proteins are the polymers of alpha amino acids. So it contains elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. and other also elements like cobalt, then manganese, then iron, then zinc, etc. So protein contains elements like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur and other elements like cobalt, magnesium, then ferrous, then zinc, etc. So common source of protein is found in milk, eggs, fish, then seeds, then cereals, etc. So remember that common sources of proteins are milk, eggs, fishes, cheese, etc. So proteins are nothing but they are the polymers of alpha amino acids. Chemically they are the polymers of alpha amino acids. So let's study about the alpha amino acids. So earlier we studied that protein on complete hydrolysis, it produces mixture of alpha amino acids. Protein on complete hydrolysis, it produces mixture of alpha amino acids. So alpha amino acids are nothing but these are the carboxylic acids having NH2 group bonded to the alpha carbon atom. Alpha amino acids are nothing but these are the carboxylic acids in which NH2 group is bonded to the alpha carbon atom. See here. So this is the general representation of alpha amino acid. So alpha amino acids are nothing but these are the carboxylic acids having NH2 group bonded to alpha carbon atom. So alpha carbon atom, this is the alpha carbon atom. So alpha carbon atom is that carbon atom which is next to carboxyl carbon. So this carbon, it is called as alpha carbon atom because this carbon atom is next to carboxyl carbon. That's why this is the alpha carbon atom. See once again. So proteins on complete hydrolysis, they produces mixture of alpha amino acids. Alpha amino acids are nothing but these are the carboxylic acids having NH2 group bonded to alpha carbon atom. Alpha amino acids are nothing but these are the carboxylic acids in which NH2 group is bonded to alpha carbon atom. And this alpha carbon atom is one that is next to carboxyl carbon. So all alpha amino acids are chiral except one, and that is the glycine. So here we studied in brief about the alpha amino acids. So in today's video we studied different articles like disaccharides. After finishing monosaccharides, we studied disaccharides. First of all, we studied the meaning of disaccharide, that is, disaccharide on hydrolysis by acid or enzyme, it produces two molecules of same or different monosaccharides. Then three common disaccharides we studied. Those are sucrose, maltose and lactose. We studied in detail about sucrose, maltose and lactose. After studying these disaccharides, we just started to learn about the next biomolecule, and that biomolecule was proteins. So, protein, it is the most abundant biomolecule of the living system, and it is essential for all the processes which are taking place in the living system. So proteins, it on hydrolysis, it produces mixture of alpha amino acids, and we just studied in brief about the alpha amino acids. So today we will stop here. Thank you.